From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. The Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, on Thursday confirmed that another Filipino has been killed in Israel following the Hamas attack on the country. Said there is still no information on the two remaining missing Filipinos.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, the Philippine Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, on Wednesday, along with the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, and other government agencies welcomed home repatriated overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, from Israel at Terminal 3 of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA, in Pasay City. Comprising of 16 individuals, including a 1-month-old infant, this is the first batch of repatriated OFWs since the conflict between Israel and Hamas started. Each of the OFWs received various forms of government assistance, including 100,000 pesos each in financial aid from the Agarang Kalinga at Saklolo para sa mga OFWs na nangangailangan, or Action Fund, which came from the DMW and OWA. Aside from this, an additional financial assistance of 20,000 pesos were given to the OFWs from the National Reintegration Center for OFWs, or NRCO, and OWA reintegration programs. Other forms of assistance include psychosocial group counseling, transportation and accommodation, jobs training, and referral service, among others. DMW Officer in Charge, or OIC Undersecretary Hans Leo Kakdak, said that most of the repatriated OFWs were caregivers in Israel and have chosen to return home following a series of attacks perpetrated by Hamas forces that infiltrated Israeli territory. The OFWs thank Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for initiating the repatriation program and for providing various forms of government assistance to them and their families. Undersecretary Kakdak ensured that the repatriated workers are able to depart either after completing their contracts or with the possibility of returning to Israel when the situation improves. He also assures them that their insurance benefits and other claims from their employers will be facilitated by the legal team from OWA and DMW. More OFW repatriates are expected to arrive in the country in the coming days.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday delivered his departure statement at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City as he embarks on a trip to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to participate at the inaugural Association of Southeast Asian Nations Gulf Cooperation Council, or ASEAN GCC Summit, which will be held from the 19th to the 21st of October. The ASEAN and GCC nations, which comprises of Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, established ties in 1990. with both regional blocs working together towards strengthening cooperation and enhancing communication between various bodies. The ASEAN GCC Summit is the first of its kind that is geared towards advancing areas of mutual interest such as energy security, food stability, and economic cooperation, among others. During this visit, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, said that the President is set to hold bilateral meetings with officials of Saudi Arabia and Bahrain to reaffirm the Philippines' diplomatic relations with the two countries. Regional and international issues will also be discussed, including recent affairs in the Middle East. President Marcos Jr. will likewise spend time to be with the Filipino community in Riyadh. Let's listen to the departure speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. Vice President Inday Duterte, Speaker Martin Romualdez, members of the Cabinet here today, the AFP Chief of Staff is General Romeo Browner, and the heads of the different services, the commanders of the different services, General Benji Acorda, fellow workers in government, good morning. I leave for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia today to attend the ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit. I will meet with ASEAN and Gulf Cooperation Council leaders to discuss the challenges of major geopolitical developments and the comprehensive and concrete enhancement of our security, our economic progress, and socio-cultural collaboration after more than 30 years of ASEAN-GCC relations. I would like to point out that this is a particularly important conference because this is the first interaction between ASEAN and the GCC, both of whom are very vibrant regions in terms of economic development for the globe. And that is why the Philippines needs to be part of that discussion. It gives us, the Philippines, a unique opportunity to advance our priorities in ASEAN under the ASEAN-GCC framework, while forging closer cooperation between the two dynamic regional organizations. This summit will serve as an important platform for the Philippines to highlight the need for cooperation in energy and food security, logistics, supply chains, digital information, the free flow of goods, people, and services, as well as the enhancement and protection of the rights, of course, of our overseas workers. We will emphasize our advocacy for a rules-based international order to maintain peace and security, stability in our regions. GCC countries are home to an estimated 2.2 million Filipinos working in critical fields. I will be meeting with the Filipino community in Riyadh to share with them important developments here at home and to thank them for their invaluable contributions. We will see to it that our constructive engagement with ASEAN and our partners will continue to serve our national interest and the well-being of the Filipino people. Before I end, I would just like to make a comment because one of the important aspects of this trip will be for us to introduce the Maharlika Investment Fund to the rest of the world, and certainly more specifically to the Middle Eastern countries. I was a bit alarmed by the news reports early this morning that I read in the newspapers that we have put the Maharlika Fund on hold. Quite the contrary. We are, the organization of the Maharlika Fund proceeds apace. And what I have done, though, is that we have found more improvements that we can make specifically to the organizational structure of the Maharlika Fund. The concept of the Maharlika Fund as a sovereign fund or an investment fund, the concept remains a good one. And we are still committed to having it operational before the end of the year. So we should not misinterpret what we have done as somehow a judgment on the rightness or wrongness of the Maharlika Fund. On the contrary, we are just finding ways to make it as close to perfect and ideal as possible. And that was what we have done. And this has been in consultation not only with our economic managers, but also with the people, the personalities who will actually be involved in the fund. And that's why their inputs have been very important, and that is why we are going to now utilize them to make it a better organization. And with that in mind, we are encouraged by the reaction of our friends in the Middle East, and for that matter, around the world, to the fund. And we're very encouraged that we are going down the right path. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat at magandang umaga po.
And you just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday called on newly installed Presidential Security Group or PSG Brigadier General Jesus Nelson Morales to help him in protecting the Philippines under his watch. In his speech during the PSG change of command rights at the PSG Grandstand in Malacañang Park, Manila, the President expressed confidence in the PSG's role in protecting the country. The chief executive urged the men and women in uniform of the PSG to support their new commander. The change of command ceremony was held a day after Malacañang announced the appointment of Morales as the new PSG head. Morales is a member of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1993. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Now we honor one of the individuals who has helped ensure that my first and most crucial year in the presidency has been safe and sound. General Demi, I speak on behalf of the First Lady, Lisa, Congressman Sandro, Simon, and Vincent in congratulating you on your successful tour of duty as PSG Commander. Under your able leadership, you have kept me, the First Family, visiting former dignitaries and foreign presidents, as well as the general public within the vicinity of Malacañang, safe and away from any serious threats to human or national security. You have also maintained and guarded the PSG's distinction as one of the best protectors of the land, worthy to preserve the presidency as a stern and reliable institution. With the unified efforts of the Office of the President and the PSG, you have successfully provided security to nearly 500 presidential events, both domestic and international engagements. You have also facilitated the conduct of training programs on VIP protection, which benefited the 545 PSG personnel. To further enhance the group's capabilities, you have led the acquisition of advanced and modern equipment under the multi-year Material Capability Development Plan of 2022 to 2028. There are also ongoing improvements in the PSG headquarters. With that being said, I wish you well and all the best in your new assignment as a commander of the AFP Civil Relations Service. You may be, we can safely say that you have left the Presidential Security Group a more capable, more efficient, and a better unit than you found. Your experience as PSG commander will undoubtedly come in handy for all that you will do in the future. For all the duties and all the commands that you will hold, I am very certain that your experience here with us at the Presidential Security Group will serve you well. Once again, thank you very much, Brigadier General Demi Segala, for your loyal service. We offer you our snappiest salute. As the PSG embarks on a new chapter, let me join you in welcoming our new commander, Brigadier General Jesus Nelson Morales. Thank you for stepping up and taking on this assignment as the next head of PSG. I am confident with your training, your experience, and overall competence, the PSG will continue to fulfill its role of protecting this institution. I certainly look forward to working with you. Let me likewise take the opportunity to express my gratitude to our valiant officers and troops. I trust that you will fully support General Morales just as you did General Sagala, with your hallmark integrity, service, and excellence. Together, let us continue to perform our duties to the best of our ability. Let us remain steadfast in safeguarding our country so that we can fulfill our sworn duty of providing a peaceful and secure life for every Filipino. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat at mabuhay tayong lahat. Magandang hapon sa inyo.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the United States expressed its readiness to help the Philippines find ways to combat cybercrimes and cyber attacks amid the spate of hackings in government websites over the past weeks. In a roundtable discussion on Wednesday, U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines Mary Kay Carlson said there is no specific request for assistance from the Philippines as of yet, but communication is ongoing on ways to address all types of cyber attacks. Carlson said cybersecurity is central to the Philippines-U.S. relations given that data from the U.S. is also tied to the Philippine data, especially with the country's large business process outsourcing sector. She added that this is an important issue for U.S.-Philippine relations and they are working very closely with the Philippines on ways to combat cyber attacks. The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation was earlier subjected to a ransomware attack, with cyber hackers demanding roughly 17 million pesos for the compromised database. This month, the Philippine Statistics Authority also suffered a data breach in its community-based monitoring system.
Dateline Malacañang.
In a related story, the United States and Philippine governments are expected to sign by year-end an agreement that would facilitate the entry of U.S. nuclear technology into the country. In a roundtable discussion with the media at her residence on Wednesday, U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines Mary Kay Carlson said the two states are getting very close to capping its negotiations since the talks on nuclear cooperation was launched during the visit of Vice President Kamala Harris to the Philippines in November 2022. The 123 agreement will provide the legal basis for civil nuclear energy cooperation and allow the export of nuclear fuel, reactors, equipment, and special nuclear material from the U.S. to the Philippines. The envoy said talks are about 90% done and the two sides are currently reconciling all the specifics. Ambassador Carlson said there are a number of U.S. nuclear technology firms who'd be very interested in investing here but have no basis upon which to proceed due to the absence of the 123 agreement. Carlson also shared that American energy firms are expected to join the trade and investment mission that President Joe Biden will be dispatching to the Philippines in 2024. The Marcos administration has been ramping up efforts to diversify the country's energy sources, which the Department of Energy earlier said includes nuclear power. Last May, U.S. nuclear energy firm Noscale Power Corporation has expressed interest to invest in the Philippines and bared its plan to conduct a study to locate a site in the country. Oregon-based Noscale is known for developing a small nuclear power system described as safe, modular, and scalable. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. at that time said the country essentially has a shortfall in power supply and the support of Noscale would help address the issue.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA on Wednesday said that the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN is coming out with a joint statement that will likely condemn the ongoing violence happening in both Israel and the Gaza Strip this week. Varying national statements have been issued by the bloc's member states, but the regional grouping has yet to issue a united position on the October 7 Hamas attack against Israel and its ensuing retaliatory strikes on the militants in southern Gaza. In a presser, DFA Undersecretary Maria Teresa Lazaro said Indonesia initiated the call for a joint statement in its capacity as ASEAN chair, but noted that the draft is moving and is limited to the terrorism and violence on both sides. ASEAN's previous position over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict had been consistent, with the bloc supporting the two-state solution. But the statement will come following the reported strike on Al-Ali Arab Hospital in Gaza City that killed hundreds of civilians on Tuesday. The health ministry in the Hamas-controlled enclave blamed the Israeli side, while the Israel Defense Forces said a rocket fired by the Islamic Jihad militants toward Israel misfired and hit the hospital. The DFA has yet to issue an official comment on the specific hospital strike, but said attacks on civilian infrastructure is a concern not only for US or for us the Philippines, but even the whole of ASEAN. There are a total of 135 Filipinos in the Gaza Strip, two working as doctors there.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, India is exporting 295,000 metric tons of non-basmati white rice to the Philippines, the highest allocation it has given to a foreign country after lifting the restriction to specific nations. The Indian government, through the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, issued a notification dated October 18 that the Philippines, together with Nepal, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Malaysia, and the Republic of Guinea, are now eligible for the exports. In a statement, the Indian Embassy in Manila said that requests made at the leadership level and the positive decision reflects the growing confidence in the bilateral relationship has granted the Philippines the highest allocation of rice export. India, the world's largest rice exporter, banned the export of non-basmati rice in July in a bid to allay rise in prices in its domestic market. The Department of Agriculture has been in talks with the Indian government since August to allow the imports to the Philippines on humanitarian grounds amid the high prices of rice.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.